Good afternoon, I'm glad to be here. Um, yes, my name is Ron, and my subject topic is why am I here? I'm here because I had a major problem with drugs and alcohol. I'm here because I had a two diagnosis of mental health challenges, depression and anxiety, and I'm not cured of any of that. Those are things that I have to deal with for the rest of my life. If you Google me, in today's market, you'll find a lot of interesting things. It'll say that I'm a peer support specialist. I teach recovery in Mecklenburg County Detention Center, as well as all over the city and state. There's numerous people who facilitate peer support under my curriculum that we worked on. Been to the White House a couple of times to talk on the opioid summits and different things. There's a lot of wonderful things. I've been made a change. You'll say I'm happily married. My wonderful wife was an ordained minister. And they'll say a lot of wonderful things about me. But what they don't talk about is that for over 2 decades, 22 years, I had an active addiction to drugs. Crack cocaine was my drug of choice. What they don't talk about is that during those years that I was unsheltered, that's a new way of saying that the person was homeless. We're trying to change our messaging, right? They don't say that I've been incarcerated in 3 different states. They don't talk about that. There won't be one mention that on March 6th, shortly before noon, in 1996, that my mother transitioned in my arms from the disease of cancer. They won't mention those things. And all of that trauma and all of the different things that led up to all of that, right? It led me to spiral out of control for a lot of years. It wasn't until March 15, 2010, that I found this thing called recovery. And I want to give you a little snapshot of what that means. By definition, we define wellness and recovery as having a purpose in life, being actively involved in satisfying work and play, being part of a joyful relationship, having a healthy body, and living environment. We define it as experiencing happiness, wellness. All these things are necessary, right? That does not mean that there's absence of a diagnosis. That doesn't mean it's absence of pain, struggle, the everyday things that life will show up in our life without our permission. It means that we have to be able to deal with those things and understand that they're going to come. And they're not going to, I mean, they're just going to be here. That's what life does. Another thing, recovery. We give you a definition of recovery. And the reason I'm doing that is for a purpose, and I'm going to talk about that on the other side. Recovery is a process of change that helps us improve our health and wellness, live self-directed lives, and work to meet our full potential in all areas of our life. You know, a lot of times when you just hear the word recovery, people go straight to the dope shop. In the definition, it has nothing to do with drugs, not even, it says that it's a change. And once we work towards that, then recovery and sustainability is more acceptable. A lot of times, people with diagnoses like myself who use drugs and alcohol, or any type of mood can suffer to mask other areas of our lives. When that guilt and shame and different things, or even pain shows up in my life, I'll mask it. 21 years. When I didn't know how to deal with certain problems, I would use a mood altering substance. And I'm not alone in that. A lot of people use those type of things to get through situations. Actually, drugs and alcohol, well, not maybe not alcohol. A lot of them were developed for good use. Even fentanyl. In my recovery process, they had me use fentanyl because they had a surgery on my arm. November of almost 2 years ago, and I was afraid. But they had to explain to me that it was developed for good things. Even cocaine was developed for a painkiller. A lot of these drugs are developed for good things, but the misuse And a lot of times, if you're like myself, you can get into addiction. Not everybody who uses drugs have addiction, and there's a myth about that too. Because some people might have the myth that a person who's on drugs, that they chose to do that. Right? Or they come from a poverty family, or they had childhood trauma, everything. Drugs do not discriminate. Not everybody has the DNA or the traits of addictions like I do. There are some individuals who can use drugs or any all type of neurosis and substances and stop. It is not a moral dilemma. Addiction is a disease of the brain. It replaces the serotonin, replaces that it connects with the filter part of the brain, the dopamine. And if we look at it from that point of view, then it is recovery is more easily attacked. Just like diabetes is a disease of the pancreas, addiction is a disease of the brain. I don't want to hold it all hostage, but I do want to say a couple of things. People who have diagnoses or addictions, they're not bad people trying to be good. They're sick people trying to get well. There is hope after the dope. My title was Why I'm Here. I want to be the example that anybody could wind up in a place where I was. And I'm not exempt. I'm one bad decision, one bad event away, going back to that lifestyle. But recovery is possible and sustainable. And once we get the right support, all things are possible. We're not defined, and I say we because I'm not cured, fixed, or healed. We're not defined by the record of our past. We're not defined by our diagnosis. If you ask me what my name is, I bet y'all gonna say my name is crack cocaine, or my name is addiction, or my name is drugs, or my name is bipolar or depression. We're changing the goalposts, we're changing the games, we're moving the goalposts. We want to treat people like people, right? We're using strength-based language. Today, after I introduce myself, I say that my name is Ron. I'm a person. My name is Ron. I'm a person who has a diagnosis. My mother name is Louise Clark. She is a person who transitioned. We still working. I appreciate y'all. A lot of spending space and time.
Does anybody have any questions? Thank you so much for that.